Why should we care about humanity's awakening? Why does it matter that other people wake up and shift to higher vibrations? Who cares about enlightenment? A lot of these things I'm going to answer and discuss in this video in ways that could help you with your own life and could help you understand this global shift that's happening and how you can play a role in it. So, hey, good to see you, John. Good to see you, Stu. So, hey, Valley. So spiritual awakening is a really interesting phenomenon. Philosophically, it's just a change of mindset and a leveling up of your quality of life, possibly getting mystical abilities. But why does it matter for the world at large? Well, there's practical reasons and there's exciting magical reasons. The exciting magical ones is you can actually measure consciousness. Princeton's Pear Lab did this for a long time, saw spikes of engagement of consciousness in a precognitive sense right before 9/11 and a lot of other events. When Unify has Global Meditation Day, and when the TM Institute has the square root of 1% of a population meditating a certain way, crime rates go down, quality of life and happiness go up for people. It's actually something that affects a lot of us on a psychological, astral, and other level. So if you think about the changes in your own life, for your own spiritual practices, whether they're tied to the philosophy of a religion, an overarching thought system, or just what you enjoy doing, just think for yourself. Say you have a meditation practice, very simple, very straightforward, very grounded. You become more peaceful, you become happier, you become more present. Possibly you become more considerate, better at your work, more fulfilled, more happy, more satisfied in life. This in turn activates the mirror neurons of other people. People see you as somebody happier, more peaceful, more active, more awake, more alive, ideally more in control of your emotions, more even keel emotions or high emotions, and less emotional reactivity like bursts of anger or bursts of sadness or being triggered, things like that. Hey, April. So if you think about just on an individual level and the immediate sphere of people you're around, taking away any of the woo-woo stuff for a moment, you actually, as you grow spiritually, help the circles and worlds around you grow spiritually. Maybe somebody does something that isn't mature, isn't considerate, hurts you in some way, and you respond with grace and forgiveness and patience. Oh, hey, I understand something's going on in your life. I understand you might be having a bad day. I just want to say I still love you, and let's work through this, whatever it is. And you could say that's responding with maturity and professionalism. It doesn't really matter what you would say in the moment. What matters is it breaks the cycle of emotional reactivity. So we'll get to the macrocosmic scales in a second. Just so far, I'd love your thoughts on this, maybe a question or an example of your life if this happened recently and what you might have noticed when you responded a certain way. So please comment below. And if you're watching this video after live, please pause it and write this experience and, we'll get a dialogue going. So then for the macrocosmic level, what does it mean, just beyond the facial expressions and interactions? Well, when you're sending out magnetic waves from your heart, the Heart Math Institute has shown the heart is 10,000 times stronger than the brain. You're actually sending out good vibes. So you walk in a room, you are around a certain person or group, you can tell the vibration, the emotional feel. If you're empathic, this is very strong. Like if you think of a concert, like a rock concert, or a peaceful church, or a big active social bar, or an empty bar. There's all the physical stuff of those environments, but there's also the energetic stuff. Sometimes places just don't feel good or feel really peaceful, really expansive, really happy. So you're putting out good vibes, good vibrations, good magnetic waves, literally physically as we get to more subtle. So in the astral dimension and the fourth dimension, talking about energetics, talking about chakras, talking about things like that, say you're focused in your heart, and say your spiritual development works on opening your heart, feeling into your heart chakra, and sensing, oh, this is what it means to live in my heart. You're actually sending out waves from your heart chakra, that little vortex that goes out. All the chakras are vortexes going in your body and from both directions, or from the top of your crown or the bottom up from your root. And you're actually sending out waves of energy, of light, that affects the material reality and the people around you from your chakras. And so if you think, I am in a more loving world, that actually affects the world in loving ways. And psychologically, third dimensionally, you do notice a more loving world because that's what you're looking for. Fourth dimensionally, you're also affecting it. And fifth dimensionally, on the causal karmic plane, you're actually creating it. So yes, in your words and actions, as we've said earlier, but you're also creating the expectation, the knowing, the law of attraction stuff on the fifth dimensional plane. I feel this world is more loving. I expect it to be more loving. And this is why if you do one meditation a day, unless you really need to focus and get rid of ADD or other stuff and do Zen meditation or one-pointed focus, have the compassionate, open-hearted, loving-kindness meditation, where you send out gratitude and receive forgiveness. So if you agree with me or you have a different suggestion, please, again, if you can, pause the video. If you're watching it live, either way, just comment below. And please share what meditations you felt were most useful and maybe how you've noticed these changes around you. And the reason for doing this, for commenting, isn't just to have dialogue going. It's to showing other people that magic is real. And magic isn't super woo-woo. It doesn't have to be. Magic is just technology we don't understand yet, to use Arthur C. Clarke's definition. So a lot of us don't understand social psychology on a macro or microcosmic scale. So by you sharing your examples, by me sharing my thoughts, my theories, all that stuff, you're helping to build the neural net of the magic and the magical psychology of how loving kindness meditation can affect the world around you, and thus you're starting to become a magical scientist and demystify mysticism and just take it to be the science of applied consciousness and take the word magic out of it if you want to, or infuse it if it adds meaning, fun, and delight. So then on the 6th dimensional plane, or the 7th dimensional, so the 6th dimensional in my system, as I outline in chapter 1 of Magic is Real, is the blessed. So just as from the causal karmic plane, you send out energy, Reiki, Chi, Ki, Prana on the 4th dimensional astral energetic, and that affects the 3rd dimensional, and the 7th dimensional divine level, where you can hold a divine level of embodiment, reclaim that divine spark, or in certain Christian teachings, the Holy Ghost, and you really feel yourself as Krishna, as Vishnu, as Lakshmi, as Thoth, as yourself, as Jamie, as Brian, as Marco, as David, your divine God and goddessness, creating and shifting. So by creating, you're creating the reality around you. Reality creation is all about manifestation. We can read about it anywhere. I teach it in a few of my videos in my book. And if you think about the divine level, where you transcend space and time significantly, really you're just shifting into a timeline, into a multiverse, into a universe, into a very parallel sliver of reality, where everything is the same except that one little thing, probability, has shifted. So when you're holding in divine awareness, a loving kindness meditation, or anything else, working on spiritual growth to affect the world, this isn't just oh, the world is ascending, it's wonderful. It's you're literally shifting into a timeline where there's a little bit more, or a lot more, depending on your strength and skill. Loving kindness and peace and forgiveness and gratitude, person to person, culturally, governmentally, earthly, planetally. Planetly, is that a phrase? Well, it is now. So again, please comment or give a wow face or a heart emoji if you agree with this, if you have thoughts, if you want to add something. I really care about building a model of open source magic. I don't claim to have ownership or the definitive law or rule for all of a certain concept. Unless you'd like me to hold that, then it's true. But, knowledge doubles constantly. We discover new traditions, new documents, new ancient texts all the time. So open sourced means everybody's contributing. The source code is transparent. And this is how we teach magic or mystery schools safely. Dean Radin of Ion said if magic were ubiquitous, the world would last 30 seconds. And think about it, if the most powerful magics were out there and hidden, and you had somebody who felt very vengeful, they could cause a lot of harm. But if we teach high magic, as is happening with the internet and everything else, let's do it together. Let's be transparent. Let's support each other. Okay, so shifting back to the main topic of this video, why help humanity awaken? Well, that just goes back to what type of a world do you want to live in? Now, say for a counterpoint, at enlightened states, you see the perfection in all things, nothing need be done. Okay, that's a beautiful attitude to have, but I'd like to offer to you that if you choose to eat another meal, or even take another breath, unless you're at the very high levels of mystical awareness where you don't need to do either of those things, so pretty much not very many people who believe that they are at that level. Of course, you are at different timelines, but if you choose to eat or breathe, eating's an easier choice, breathing kind of happens on its own, you're choosing to engage with the world. So the Bodhisattva vow is you feel enlightenment, oneness with all things, unity, nothing need be done, all is perfect, you can see and feel and know yourself as one with all things, the tree, the sky, the fence, the table, the chair, one who you might have used to call friend or enemy, parent, child, friend, lover, shirt, whatever. But you choose to descend from that level of ascended awareness, of enlightenment, satori, samadhi, nirvana, at the higher levels, and choose to descend your awareness and help other beings. Maybe that means experiencing emotions. Maybe that means experiencing need, want, desire, and action beyond just eating another meal to living your purpose, to seeing that at maybe the fifth dimension, as a soul or oversoul, you designed this incarnation and certain things to happen. Now you can accept that and merge and align with your higher self and reclaim that aspect of your divine spark. Or you can shift to lower levels and say, well, I as the ego have free will. I don't have to follow that mission or purpose. And you don't. You don't have to follow anything. You don't have to do anything. But if you choose to be in this world and take a Bodhisattva vow and not just bask in the glory of the perfection of all things, then you're choosing to act. And if you're choosing to act and choosing to live in this world, it makes sense to improve the world. So maybe you want to spread more loving kindness. Maybe you want to spread a shift in abundance frequencies and rebuild wealth through cryptocurrency, or change what wealth means by enable people to live in communities and live without having to spend a lot of money. And so you're changing the wealth consciousness, the frequency of money throughout this culture. Maybe you're coaching people through life and career stuff, and you're shifting the world that way. So the term spirituality doesn't necessarily contain a moral code. And please, comment, like, give your thoughts, say if you agree or disagree, let's have this be like a dialogue. But spirituality doesn't mean a certain moral code. Sure, we'd love to have love, kindness, forgiveness, but in a neutral sense, spirituality is just the component of existence that's meaningful, that's felt, and that's non-physical. And again, if you collapse everything to the third dimension as a material reductionist, then you could just call that psychology. But if you have any education, any training, any inner knowing, you know the spirit is real. You could call it the astral body, the soul, the oversoul, the greater unity, source of infinite oneness and divinity. We're not going to break down the semantics right now. But the purpose and value of helping to awaken humanity is to live in a world that you enjoy more, naturally, all of it, to use your divine power of reality creation to prove with validity and validation that you have these abilities. You believe you can shift the world, you believe you can change the world, you believe you can shift yourself, that is also the world, at that point of unity, oneness, and non-duality, then prove it. And even though shooting fireballs and levitating cats and making them fart sprinkles and learning to fly and materialize objects and heal the blind and regenerate people's legs and do all that cool high magic might sound fun, the most useful magic is the stuff that works around the world as we're in it. And as somebody who's delved very deep in a lot of mystery schools, I can say that the reality we're in has consensus to it, has matrix stuff to it. Like you hear about magic and healing, but not levitating cats super often, right? So there's certain types of magic that are more accessible. So I encourage you to think about awakening the world in the way that is the most accessible, the lowest hanging fruit. So if you wanted to, say, work on this together, you could go to my site, patreon.com/magicaljoy, and join a mastermind where we can strategize together how to awaken humanity. If you want to figure out on your own, how do you help this world awaken, not just with your own consciousness, but with the awareness of everybody around you, so that you, as one with all things, reflects to yourself the perfection of infinite unity, and as your mortal mind can only conceive of so many possibilities, opportunities, and things, choose what you want to experience. Do you want to experience the part of unity that is suffering, that is fear, that is anger, that is reactivity, that is destruction of the world and its peoples? Or do you want to have more harmony, more heaven on earth, golden age, magic schools, temples, fiction and movies and music that encourages love and excitement and happiness and strategies to grow, as opposed to the addictive, political, stressful entertainment that's on TV and the fast food and agribusinesses that affect our systems, our psychology, our bodies, and our minds? So, think of the world you want to live in. Do you really want to say, I only want to hang out with certain people because those people are at my spiritual level? Or do you want to be able to go to any city and realize you're at home? You don't just have to find a tribe, or find a people, find a small community, but the whole world is your home. And while you can be at bliss with all things, and you can be in unity consciousness and samadhi and enlightenment and see all things as perfect, even the people like growling angrily and spitting at you on the streets of a city, if you have that experience, it's much nicer, you might agree, just to have that bliss effortlessly. Not the effortlessness that comes after lots of meditation, that's great too, but just waking up in the morning and knowing anything you look at will inspire you, will fill you with strength, is tapped into your synchronistic flow and gives you the information you need at this moment. So again, an opportunity for community engagement. Please comment. If you can, pause the video and do so. What do you need right now for your spiritual growth? And what do you have to offer? If you just say one of those two things, just imagine the dialogue that'll happen around this video and how many people will be uplifted. Even if one person is, and that's you just writing that thought, you're making a statement to yourself and to everybody who sees it, and law of attraction stuff that's going to send it out, and you're going to receive something back. Maybe it's just self-awareness, again, third dimensional collapsing, but in the highest level, if you can really phrase it a certain way on this video or anywhere else, you can help people co-create your shared life experience with you. So I'd like to share a few ways that I'm working on helping humanity awaken through my work, as mentioned in my book, Magic is Real, and in a few other sources. So I'm working on being an educator and being a thought leader. Sorry, I haven't gotten equipment yet. And being a thought leader where I create and provide content like this, where I have videos teaching mystical abilities, where I'm putting out writing, because for me, that's the way I can help people the most, by sharing certain ideas, by providing inspiration, by providing instruction. And I know, I see the ripple effect, I have the vision, I have the law of attraction. Somebody reads that, they make a change in their life, their quality of life is higher, they're healthier, they're happier, a goal they had, something that they wanted to achieve, they can now achieve. That key to that door is inserted and is turned, right? For you, maybe it's helping a bigger mission. Maybe it's something with a charity. Maybe it's ending starvation. Maybe it's planting trees. But specifically for what I'm doing, I have a 10 and a 23-year plan and goal. So along with books and online schools, all of which is good, I plan on building 3 temples. Temple of Thoth, Lakshmi, and Aphrodite. I believe there's 3 areas of healing that coincide with spiritual awakening. So Thoth, a temple of magical sciences. How is consciousness used? How is the placebo effect, as Joe Dispenza describes it, a shifting of focusing on the quantum probabilities of all the little components of you that phase in and out of existence 7 to 8 times a second, he says. This is a guy who has been writing for a while, has a lot of credibility, apparently regenerated multiple shattered vertebrae through visualization alone within 8 weeks after getting hit by a car while he was biking. It's in his book, You Are the Placebo. So if you think about understanding this stuff, sure, there's techniques, there's workshops, I teach, he teaches, a lot of people teach, but what does it really mean to understand it and use it all the time? Could we change our skin color? Could we live to be 200 and as healthy as we are at our prime age? Whether that's 16, 19, 23, 35, whatever your prime age is. Could we really understand, finally, what it would mean to be able to fly? Or why we can't do it, or why we can't levitate. Maybe we can unlock that, like we unlocked going to the moon, only a few people at a time, but pretty epic experience, for all of us. And really, how do we grow plants quickly? How do we heal people quickly? How do we understand safe psychic practices quickly? Right now, you can call somebody on the phone, you can video chat. What if you could close your eyes and instantly jump into a vivid and rich, lucid dream, or playing in the astral realm with anybody you want? In the magical community of Damanhur, where I studied for 5 weeks in Italy, and I plan to go back and study with them every year, people astral project and hang out at the temple in their spirit bodies at like 2 and 3 in the morning on random nights. How fun would that be if you could do that with everybody? Instead of digital stuff, you close your eyes, you ping a friend, that friend is available, you can manipulate space-time, or at least your perception of it as consciousness, which exists outside of it, unlike these 3D bodies, and you can break those laws, but it's harder. Well, it's harder for most of us. And just imagine flying, playing, levitating, shooting lasers everywhere, having 30 dogs running around, changing reality, making it like soup. You could do so much if you could lucid dream, astral project, and have telepathy at will. So there's the fun stuff and useful stuff, and that's how the Temple of Thoth, one of the ways it's going to affect the world, a research center, a practice center. Now, the Temple of Lakshmi is something that I feel we really need. A lot of us have money issues, especially in the spiritual community. Some of us don't like taking money. Some of us see money and spirituality as evil if they're connected. Some of us have cognitive dissonance, like, money is bad, but I need to make money, or people who ask for money, are trying to take advantage of me, but I have to ask for money, so am I taking advantage of people? And you have the cognitive dissonance like that, you're putting the gas and the brake at the same time. You're saying go and stop at the same time. If we have a healed relationship with money, we'd be able to more effortlessly flow, build the lives that we want, attract the money we want to attract. not get triggered by money issues and situations, whether they're in family or work or relationships or friends or anything else, and to be able to live in abundance. So what Bashar says about abundance is you have what you need when you need it. Not certain numbers, not certain lifestyles, what you really need. And often as a soul, you can tune in and realize the ego wants and the soul needs. And if you think about it, the soul needs nothing. The ego wants everything. The soul's happy sitting in a cave and being blissed out. If you're fully aligned as a soul, you can do that and have a great life and just hang out in the bliss of samadhi and enjoy the astral realm if you want to have other experiences, even physical ones, because you can engage your whole consciousness. But if you really want to live in the material world and have options, money helps with that, whatever those options are, your purpose, your lifestyle, your family, so we need to heal that. We need to heal the national debt, the individual debts. So the Temple of Lakshmi is going to have money magic stuff, healing, debt resolution stuff, financial trauma resolution, free and affordable housing for people dedicated to spiritual paths. So this is a temple which is really going to be involved in the spiritual energy of money and transforming that. So I'd love your thoughts on Lakshmi or thoughts of temples. As before, if you have a chance, please comment, give requests, give thoughts, give suggestions, give feedback. I'm completely open. This is an open source collaborative effort. So the third temple I'll be building within the next 10 years is the Temple of Aphrodite. So love and sexuality is coming up all over the world. And in spiritual circles, it comes up as really deep contact and circling communities, like eye contact, being present with somebody, honoring what they say, not being passive-aggressive, holding space, and just having unconditional love as we connect deeply as humans with substance and depth, and not small talk, not playing games, not wearing masks, not having charades. We're really maturing and coming into our embodiment. What's also happening in the love and sexuality space are the growth of Tantra schools. And unfortunately, this also comes with the scandals that occur when you have a teacher who has an ego they haven't fully dissolved and merged with their higher self. And, you see in these schools, no matter how much good they give, no matter how much healing they provide, no matter how many techniques they teach people, how much liberation people feel and experience for sexual training and healing, usually what spreads are the bad stories, the abuse stories. Whether they're 2% of the student body or 20%, just for how our minds work and how the news works, that's what gets out there is the shame around the abuse of sexuality and spirituality. So what I proposed in Magic is Real, Book 1, Chapter 13, for the Temple of Aphrodite, is that we have these schools, legally and with local customs, but again, open-sourced. Not one armchair guru, but where there's a committee, where there's transparency, where there's support. Maybe they involve bodies, maybe they don't. It depends on every person, whether somebody goes in for healing or techniques or skill building, but to reclaim love, to reclaim sexuality, to reclaim body image, to let go of objectification, to provide what people need, along with the safety, the transparency, and the community support and co-creation, as opposed to one person in a guru's seat who may have stuff to work through themselves, and so maybe they shouldn't have absolute power. So there's those three temples. Again, I'd love your thoughts on the Temple of Aphrodite. There's a lot more to it if you check out my book, Magic is Real. And so the 23-year plan, and as of 2018, is to build Atlantis Reborn. And when I say build, for me, it's to provide the information and instructions I have from channeling. I have the entire blueprints of a 10 million person city in my field. And this is something that feels like it wants to come through me when people hold space. So maybe that's you, maybe that's a friend, maybe that's one of the many people out there talking about Atlantis, but just to have a magical and spiritual city of advanced technology, advanced spiritual research, deep practices, and a lot of opportunities for engagement for anybody who wants to live in a spiritual community or spiritual society with big temples, research on sacred geometry and crystals, and just, a haven for anybody doing a lot of deep magical work. So with that too, I'd love your thoughts about, what you would like if you would want to live in a city like that or visit it, things you would want to see, things you wouldn't want to see, and just everybody, I really appreciate your engagement and your comments, whether you like it or love it or just pop a question or say thank you for mentioning that. They really help build the visibility of this stuff and help me be able to provide more. So along those lines, if you like what I'm sharing, if you believe this is helpful for yourself or society, there's a few ways to keep the cycles of energy going. So the first is patreon.com/magicaljoy. That helps me just be able to live a life where I can offer this stuff for you and eventually have better technology, editing, etc. to raise the quality of the videos. The other is my website, magicalgoldenage.com, where you can just sign up and get emails about techniques, really ways to boost your health, boost your money, boost your magical abilities, masterminds, and stuff like that. And then the last is just to offer connecting psychically. If you don't want to take any digital actions, just think of me and send good vibes and receive good vibes. We're all connected spiritually anyway, so if I can ever help you, if you ever want to ask me something or reach out and you don't feel called to do so digitally, do so psychically and see what happens. So thank you again so much for your love, your support, your time here. I wish you everything you wish for yourself, and I hope you have a magical day.